Hi, I'm Dominic Cobb, the writer, director, and producer of the short film Within, and welcome to the director's commentary of the film.
Testing number 5. You have 30 seconds.
So, at the start of the film, I knew that I wanted to hint at the character of Gloria, Quincy's mom. We don't actually see her until the midpoint of the film, but the game show audio here at the beginning is significant for a couple of reasons. First, it is the audio from a game show that Quincy and Gloria would always watch together. The audio is also over black to signify that Quincy's now falling asleep to the sound of the TV, and this show essentially triggers him to not only dream about his mom, but about how much he misses her, his grief surrounding her recent passing. The core concept of the story is the idea of experiencing life through the lens of unprocessed grief. And one of the things that I came up with early in the scriptwriting process was this scary, demonic voice in Quincy's head, taunting him throughout his day. The first words that we hear over an actual visual is this voice yelling at Quincy to wake up. And those are the same words that Quincy's mom leaves him with at the end of their talk. The idea is that in Quincy's dream, just as in his life, there's this guiding presence in his head, his mom, telling him what to do, where to go, and ultimately leading him back to her. But since at the start of the film, Quincy's been experiencing everything through this lens of grief that he's been carrying, he doesn't interpret this voice as a well-intentioned, guidance from someone who loves him, but rather as a threat, a reminder of the pain that he's in.
Sweetheart.
And, the same thing goes with the quote-unquote unknown caller who's been blowing Quincy's phone up all day, basically disturbing his peace throughout the dream. When he finally wakes up, Quincy sees that he's missed 3 calls from his older brother calling to check up on him. So those rattling vibrations of his phone next to him are what he's been incorporating into his dream, once again not interpreting it as a kind gesture, but rather as a threat. And to make all of these elements actually read as threats visually, my DP Nick and I decided to stage the camera in a way that suggested that there's unseen entities in Quincy's house that are observing him. Whether shot from behind a cracked door, like in the beginning of the film, or peeking from behind a shower curtain. These angles are meant to represent the manifestation of Quincy's own grief looming over him as he goes throughout his day. All these eerie first-person-esque shots work to build narrative tension that ultimately comes to a head when he sees an actual person standing outside his house with a weapon. Now, the weapon here is significant not only because it's the biggest threat that Quincy has faced up until this point, but there's also a callback in the scene when Quincy and his mom first reunite. She asks what's wrong, and images of all the threats that he's faced throughout his nightmare come flooding Quincy's mind. But this time, the person outside his door, meant to represent his older brother, isn't wielding a weapon, but simply holding a phone. It's another instance of Quincy viewing things through this lens of his unprocessed grief. He views his brother's phone as a gun because when we're deep in our grief, sometimes communication itself can feel like a weapon. And that is certainly the case for Quincy when we meet him at the beginning of the film. Quincy goes into what me and my crew call the portal, this all-white room which serves as a limbo space in between his nightmare and his dream, being reunited with his mom. And what follows is the first of 2 aspect ratio changes throughout the film. The different aspect ratios correlate with where Quincy is at in his journey, becoming fuller as Quincy gains more perspective. Literally, his field of view is expanding as he grows as a character. Gloria's character is also symbolized in the yellow roses that are seen throughout the film. In Quincy's backstory, these flowers were gifted to him at Gloria's funeral, and he understandably has had a hard time discarding of them since.
Come on. You're here to talk to me, aren't you? What's wrong, sweetheart?
They're after me, Mom.
Who is, sweetheart?
Everybody.
Oh, sweetheart. Have you talked to your brother?
It's too hard. Without you here, I just...
But you're not without me, my love. No matter how far away, we are always connected. I mean, look at me. I loved you before you were even born. Do you love me?
Yes, Mommy.
Then it's settled. We use love as our bridge. And as long as we have that, me and you will never be apart. I am forever with you and in you, right here.
How do I make it stop?
What stops, sweetie?
The pain.
It can get real dark when we commit to suffering alone. Like a bad dream on loop. When your Nana died, I felt the same thing.
When directing Quincy and Gloria's conversation, it was important to me to show that Gloria herself also had her own relationship with grief in regards to her mother's passing. And her opening up about that is what actually gets through to Quincy. You know, the advice that she offers to him that to break free from his pain, he has to feel it.
We just want you to wake up.
Ultimately, in the end, we see that this advice did get through to him because in the final scene, Quincy chooses a new path. Instead of conceding to the pain of his grief and letting it make himself isolate, he accepts the support that his older brother has been offering him all along. In the end, that is Quincy's journey throughout the film. He goes from being avoidant of his grief to accepting it.
Hey. Sorry I missed your call.
And that brings us to the end of the director's commentary. I'd like to extend a huge thank you to all of those who have watched Within. If you enjoyed the film and the insight behind the creative process of making it, the best way to support us is by liking and subscribing. And if you think that it resonates with someone that you know, please feel free to share the film with them as well. Our social media links are in the description, so you can keep up with the next updates from All Things Productions. We've got some exciting stuff coming up soon. Until then.